morning everyone, AFC Finners part 2 of this weekend's double bill. Yesterday we did Slough Town, had a really nice time as they beat Altrincham in the FA Cup. We're not too far from Altrincham today. We've done the long drive out to Manchester. Thank you to Marder for taking us up there. We're knackered after the drive, but feeling good. As you all know, we tried to do this ground earlier this year, Plymouth in the FA Cup. They voided our tickets because Tomaldo had a Plymouth account for when we saw them against Leicester. He phoned them up and they said they could tell from his accent he was from Plymouth. Tom, do you sound like you're from Plymouth?
Who are?
I'm trying.
They host Bournemouth, 4:30 kickoff. We got here about lunchtime.
Right,
There it is.
I'm trying.
Got here about a few hours before kickoff to wander around. I've been to the stadium once before, but not for a game. 9 years ago, I saw the Stone Roses here. We had, there was a Public Enemy, Paul Heaton, Jackie Abbott on the bill as well. But that was, at the time, I would say the best gig I've ever been to. That was past this year when I saw these guys at Wembley. I felt it was appropriate to wear that today. So let's have a wander around. The infamous Co-op Arena is ahead of us. I didn't know Hackney was so nearby. And there's the stadium that Man City women play in as well. It's a big campus, the Etihad. That still a customary circuit. Colin Bell, Franny Lee, Mickey Summerby, Man City legends. The Joy Division fan in me got very excited because I thought that was the bridge. It turns out it's not. It's in Epping Walk. That's a classic Barclays era badge. Onto the statues. Balotelli, Aguero. I swear you'll never see anything like this again. I hope not, because it's a shit statue. You should have gone for the head. And there's David Silver. For some reason looking like the fifth Beatle, but what a player.
Brother David Gold.
I thought you was dead. What a player though. £4 for a programme. Pretty good. I don't know why they've got the Inter Milan badge on it. Oh, Tom, look. No names on the back. It's a disgrace. We've seen some legends. Smaldo, in your time watching football, who is your favourite player to play for Man City? Look at his face. Red his face has gone.
Balotelli.
Yeah, I see that. He was many things, but he was never boring. I'm going to go with De Bruyne. Elegant player, could create something out of nothing, just a general joy to watch. Glad to see him doing well for Napoli. Hope he recovers from injury soon.
I'm going to do something which not many people can do. Give you a chance to get from over there to over here, and you can high-five the players as they get off the coach today. Dead easy, no tricky competitions, nothing complicated. All I want you to do is make some noise!
Yeah. Well, we've solved the atmosphere. Time to go inside, but before we do, let's find out a bit about today's hosts, Manchester City.
Manchester City were founded in 1880 by members of St Mark's Church with the aims of taking locals away from violence and alcoholism with all religions welcome. The first honour came with the second division title in 1899, which saw them promoted to top flight, and in 1904 they won their first major trophy by defeating Bolton in the FA Cup final. However, they weren't able to build on this success due to allegations of financial irregularities, which saw 17 players suspended. After the main stand of their ground was damaged by fire in 1920, they moved to Main Road 3 years later. They lost consecutive FA Cup finals in 1933 and 1934, but 3 years later, they won their first top-flight title. However, they suffered relegation the next season. They reached the FA Cup final in 1955, but lost to Newcastle. They would go one better the next season by defeating Birmingham City 3-1, with their German goalkeeper Bert Trautmann playing on despite breaking his neck. The 1960s began badly, with relegation in 1963, and they would end on a true high. Joe Mercer took charge of the club in 1965, with his trusty assistant Malcolm Allison joining in. They would win the second division in Mercer's first season, and 2 seasons later, with vital signings in Mickey Summerby and Colin Bell, they won the first division, defeating Manchester United to our title on the final day. They added to their cabinet the FA Cup in 1969, so as the League Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup in 1970. They won another League Cup in 1976, but this would be their final major honour of the 20th century. They declined in the 1980s, losing in the 81 Cup final to Tottenham and experienced relegation from the top flight in 1983 and 1987. They were a founding member of the Premier League, but were relegated in 1996 and then were demoted further to third tier in 1998. The Red Devils would not be the only Mancunian side performing cup final drama in 1999, as Manchester City dramatically defeated Gillingham on penalties in the playoff final, going from 2-0 down with goals in the 90th and 95th minutes. They achieved a second successive promotion to return to the top flight, and the next campaign would be their last at Main Road as they moved to City of Manchester Stadium. In 2008, their fortunes changed forever when they were purchased by Sheikh Mansour's Abu Dhabi Group. They splashed the cash on players such as Robinho, Carlos Tevez and the Torre brothers, but success was not immediate. Roberto Mancini was appointed in 2009, and it took 2 years for his first shot at glory. They reached the 2011 FA Cup final, and the Yaya Torre goal saw them beat Stoke to win the first major trophy for 35 years. The next season, they went one better to win the league in dramatic style with a last-minute Sergio Aguero goal against QPR, securing the league in the most dramatic finish in English top-flight history. A defeat to Wigan Athletic in next season's FA Cup final saw Mancini sacked and replaced by Manuel Pellegrini. The Chilean won Man City a League Cup and the league title in his first campaign, and won another League Cup 2 years later, but would make way for Pep Guardiola in 2016, and the Catalonian took them to new heights. While his first campaign was trophyless, a record 100 points in the league secured their third Premier League title, and they dramatically retained the league next year, also winning the FA Cup and League Cup to secure a domestic treble. This will be the first of 4 consecutive League Cups, and they reached their first Champions League final in 2021, but suffered a surprise defeat to Chelsea. After retaining the league in 2021, they went on to become the first side to win the English top flight 4 years in a row, with their finest moment coming in 2023 with an FA Cup victory over Manchester United and a Rodri goal against Inter Milan in the Champions League final, securing them a treble as they became Kings of Europe for the first ever time. Whilst they won the league the next campaign, they lost to Manchester United to surrender their hold of the FA Cup in the final. A disappointing campaign followed that saw them go trophyless. They're hopeful of getting their hands back on silverware this campaign. Overall, they've won 8 League Cups, 7 Second Division titles, 10 top flight titles, 7 FA Cups, 1 European Cup Winners' Cup, and 1 Champions League. And a bit of trivia, Man City have an unusual trilogy of unique feats in English football, being the only team to have been relegated from the top flight as holders of the league, the only team to be relegated as the league's top scorers, both of these happening in 1938, and for being the only team to concede and score over 100 goals in the same season, 20 years later in 1958. So those are our hosts, Manchester City. Let's have a look inside their home, the Etihad.
Please make some noise for Manchester City! And give it up for our amazing manager, Pep Guardiola! Hold! Pep and the backroom staff, they are making their way into the building. Ruben Diaz, our captain, Bernardo Silva. And of course, Matías Núñez. Make some noise for Gigi Donnarumma. He's not our own Rico Lewis. And of course, last but not least, Omar Marmoush and our number 9, Haaland.
You see me, I got my magic bag. They're going for a cheese pie. They know it's doing in Lancashire. Tom's got the same. The Kit Kat too. Let's go to our seats. Look at that. So last time I was here, it was up either that one or that one. Rose Ed up in the gods. Still the best gig I've been to. There's Tomaldo. Let's eat our pies. I think of the pie, Tom.
Alright.
So lovely bit of cheese. So we literally had a conversation on the way to Slough about how much we love pies. So that to be done. So that man down there, just walking away from the podium. Smith's drummer Mike Joyce, one of my all-time favourite bands. A great thing to see.
And our number 9,
Let's do this. Well, that's what we played for. That's Edmonton. Bournemouth had a dominant spell of possession, couldn't quite find something to do with it. But they played it down the halfway line. Haaland's burst from goal, as he characteristically does, and slotted it neatly beyond the keeper. Smash and ground ball, they needed 1-0. This fulfilled his dream. Bucket list, truly text. Worth every penny. 6 minutes on the clock and we're level again. A corner was swung in, a bit of a scramble, and Tyler Adams has hooked up the leg. Put in for 1-0, game on. He's that guy from the Bass Street Kids, the green jumper. The one who always has like these people know what I mean. It's at it again, a long string of disappointing decisions against Man City, but Haaland's played through once again, and he's tucked it in once again. He's clinical, he's a centre forward, that's what they do. Feed Erling, pour milk, and he will score 2-0, 2-1, sorry. It's been a very good contest. Man City on top, but Anthony Taylor not picking the receptions, you can see, making some strange decisions, but really game so far. I think it will continue to be a good contest second half. See, just beside there, but I think Bournemouth have been competing really well and we're up for a good second half. Half time 2-1.
Second half, very quick half time.
Found lots of space on the left throughout the game, and he scored a brilliant goal. He stalled enough time to create uncertainty in Wolves' defence, and he's tucked it neatly into Wolf-off the edge of the box. Left back makes it 3, and could well be the 3 points signed, sealed and delivered. Still just over half an hour to go. So Man City still out a routine win. I thought Bournemouth challenged well, but Man City just had a better quality. When you got a striker like that in Haaland, that's what will make the difference. But they don't want to play them twice, and that's all they needed to get the 3 points. But good win for Manchester City. Not a huge setback for Bournemouth. I think it's still a very good season. A fun evening here in the Republic of Mancunia. Because my friend said he'd take me home. How does it feel like? So that was Man City, a big milestone for us in groundhopping and a really fun day. Tomaldo's bucket list moments was to see Haaland not just in the flesh but score goals, and he's got triple his desires. Seeing Haaland in the flesh and 2 goals, what more can you ask for? But really fun day, great to have the privilege to see games like this. Whatever I think of Man City, it's still incredible to see such incredible players and have the opportunities to, so very grateful to do so. I'll tell you more in rated experience, but we've had a really good double bill. Great to be back doing this. Gone from Elche to Evesham to this. We're certainly seeing out the year of a bang. doing another game next week in Bradford-upon-Avon in Wiltshire. Tom's about to do the drive home. Tomaldo, thanks for driving and sorting this out. Luciano kindly booked the tickets because he still had a membership. So Luciano, thank you for joining that. He's in Copenhagen for his brother's wedding. James, congratulations and wishing you all the best of your marriage and a massive piss up in Copenhagen and then Portugal. We're heading home now. Time to rate the experience.
So we will start off with the welcome, and obviously everyone knows my opinions on Man City, but I think credit where it's due. Whenever I've spoken to fans, they've always been lovely people, and you know that hasn't changed there. I think like when I've spoken to ones like I knew in the past, they were still happy to set aside their differences and talk about football, like when we went to Main Road a few years ago. But I think there was a really strong effort to make it a memorable experience. I think whilst those statues aren't the best, it is great that they do pay tribute to their history, and not just like the modern history. You've got the statue of the Trinity out the front of Colin Bell. There's a strong conscious effort to do that, and that whole thing out the front with like welcoming the players, it does add a lot to the experience. And I understand some people might think it's a bit cringy, but I think at the end of the day they're putting a strong conscious effort into making it a really strong memorable experience, not just, you know, going there for the game. And I really like that. I think there is a really strong effort to engage with the community, like getting kids to win shirts, getting them to be able to meet the players, I think is lovely, and I think is like a really strong way of doing that. But the area around the ground is really nice, plenty of like stalls, really welcoming crowd, didn't feel like hostile at all. I think they do kind of shoot themselves in the foot a bit, like when the whole cancelling the Plymouth tickets thing, but at least they managed to start this time. But I do just think, don't complain about attendances, then void people's tickets, which obviously have been done before. But it's a pretty solid welcome. The fans are treated with a lot of respect. You could see that in the bit before and the way they do the announcements, like before and after a game. Whilst they're not a club I'm particularly keen on, there is a very strong effort to make it a memorable experience for not just fans, you know, for people of all ages, and I really respect that. So I think it's a good welcome. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Food and drink, also pretty good. There's plenty of options of all different kinds around the ground, you know, nachos, halloumi, all kinds of things. And the pie we had was delicious. I love, you know, Lancashire pies. They're normally the best. And it's great to sort of pay homage to local heritage. You know, a lot of tourists will come to this stadium. They want to try the local cuisine. What could get more Lancastrian than a pie? And it was very good. It's not quite as good as the Burnley or Chorley ones, but still a very good pie. So really good array of food as options. There wasn't too much of a queue. So many things both inside and outside the ground. Plenty of space. So I'll give the food and drink a 9 out of 10. Atmosphere, Man City obviously have a reputation, like don't have the atmospheres and attendances that other clubs of their success get, and this kind of just added to that. I thought the atmosphere was very poor, but even I didn't exactly go in expecting the cop, like it was still lower than my expectations. I just like, there's very little chanting throughout the game. Even Blue Moon before the game didn't get much of a sing-along. There was a lot of people shouting like Haaland's name after he scored, but really didn't hear much singing at all. Most of it was from the Bournemouth fans. And I just thought, you know, you're doing well, you won the game, but barely heard anything at all. And it's not like I heard like a pocket of the crowd singing either. Some clubs have like a singing section, but I couldn't even hear that. If there was such a thing, you would hear that, but very little throughout the game. I thought it was very disappointing, especially the club that's had the success they've had in recent memory. I thought there would have been at least something of an atmosphere. But it's just the fact that like you had all those empty seats. I just don't get it. The amount of success that they've had in recent years. I get it's not like that easy necessarily getting a ticket, but anyone who wouldn't want to that much would find a way. We did, and we don't even support Man City. And you know, the fact that to the left of us they've got that top tier closed for renovation, so that means there's thousands of tickets that are not currently available, which would make you think there's more of a squeeze to get tickets. But I could see empty seats across the stadium. There must have been hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 or so. I just think it's really disappointing. I kind of think if you really want to get to a Man City game, this would be a good opportunity, as we showed. But, you know, me and Tom could easily move about, and whilst that's a good thing, I really wouldn't expect something like that of a team that recently has won 4 top-flight titles in a row and a treble, and very little chanting throughout. Barely better than the atmosphere at Stoke when we went, to be honest. Didn't go in with the highest of expectations, but even they were disappointed. So I'll give the atmosphere a 3 out of 10. Stadium, it's really good, solid all round. Like I said, really good setup outside. All the food and drink kiosks are really well thought out. Not too many queues, toilets were easy to use, and pretty clean overall. There was like some bits on the outside, like clearly do with a lick of paint, but for the most part, it was pretty good. There's lots of parking nearby. It's a nice area around the stadium. The thing I would say is we wanted to get to walk to get to statues. We were by the stadium and then had to do a sort of weird loop round to that bridge. It was a bit unnecessary. Felt there probably could have been a better way to get to that bit. But seats are really comfy. Everyone has a really good view. Cut off from the outside world, and plenty of screens. Seats are clean and up to date. The stand was really good. So it's a really well kept stadium. I really like those spirals that you could go up to. So it works out quite well if you want to see the players come in but wanted to enter. So it's a pretty good stadium. Tiny little bits that I think could do with a lick of paint, but still pretty solid overall and a great place to watch a game. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And finally, value for money, £50 for the ticket. Obviously far more than I expect. I think any club should be, as I always say, 20's plenty. But at least you're paying to see players like Haaland, Donnarumma and Rodri. So at least I know I'm parting money and getting good experience. And you get good value. It's not just one of those turn up, watch game, buy coffee, go. There's a lot of effort to make it a really strong experience. Like I said, you get to see the players walk in, which is really hyped up. And to be so close to people like Guardiola is fantastic. It is something that in 30 years you can tell people that you did. And it's like I said, it's a quality stadium, pretty well maintained, so you at least know paying for your ticket you're going to see high quality footballers in a well kept stadium. There's bits of Old Trafford and the Emirates that aren't so well kept. But yeah, 50 quid is a lot for a match day ticket, but I still don't think 50 quid is a justifiable amount to pay for such a game. But I think of all the ones I've been to I paid a lot of money for, I think that went quite close to justifying it. And around the ground, it wasn't actually too bad. 4 quid for a programme. The pie and chocolate bar I got was about 6 quid. I think could have been a lot more expensive. I think there's a lot of stadiums that were charged a lot more for that. So ticket was a lot, but things inside the ground weren't too bad. I'll probably give the value for money a 6 out of 10. So that was the Etihad. A really fun experience. It was great to see how happy Tomaldo was to see Haaland play and score. He's been talking about that for years, and it was so great to see that in the flesh and how much joy it brought him. Whatever I think of Man City, I can still appreciate seeing great players like Haaland and Rodri, Donnarumma, and seeing Guardiola in the flesh. I'm very lucky to be able to see such players and experience a Premier League game. So I'm really happy I've been able to do that. Thank you, Tomaldo, for planning it and driving us all the way there. Thank you, Luciano, for booking the ticket as well. We had the account left over when we tried to do Man City against Plymouth. Worked out quite well in the end. Got more games coming up. I told you I was really excited to show you what was coming up. This has been one of the biggest ones we've done on Ground to Ground, and it's amazing to be able to do such experiences. If you'd like to support days out like this, you can check out the Patreon in the link below and support the channel for as little as £1 a month. Thank you for watching. I've been AFC Finners. See you next time and stick with us as we go Ground to Ground. AFC Finners out.